When I first heard the term robotocracy, I gotta say, it sounded like something straight out of a movie, right? A world run by machines. And for decades, that was purely science fiction. But what's so wild is how that idea is quietly creeping off the silver screen and into real-life academic papers, into boardrooms, and even into our governments. Okay, let's dive into this and see how this powerful, once fictional concept is becoming today's reality. I mean, this line right here, from the classic 1951 film The Day the Earth Stood Still, it just nails that primal fear we have of machine rule. Klaatu's home is this place where totally emotionless, brutally efficient robots keep the peace. It's a powerful image that stuck with audiences for generations. But what if that story, that warning, is starting to look a little less like fiction? So, here's the big question. Are we just living in the opening credits of a sci-fi blockbuster? Or is this whole idea of a robotistry just a spooky story we like to tell ourselves? Well, it turns out the answer is kind of both. Over on the left, you've got those nightmares we all know, the big, dramatic, all-at-once takeover. But look at what's happening on the right. The reality isn't one single event. It's this slow, quiet weaving of automated systems into the very things that run our world. How we enforce control, how our economy works, and even how we create. The pieces of the puzzle aren't fictional anymore. They're fully functional. And that brings us to what we're actually talking about here. A robotocracy isn't just about shiny humanoid robots marching down the street. It's about algorithmic governance. It's where code and data start making critical decisions that impact real human lives. I mean, think about the algorithms that decide what news you see or what your credit score is. That's a form of algorithmic rule, and it's already here. What's amazing is how this idea went from a sci-fi trope to a serious topic for sociologists and ethicists. Let's kick things off with one of the most sobering examples out there, what researchers are calling the carceral automaton. This is where the idea of a robotocracy gets very real, very fast. Okay, picture a prison where the guards are replaced by a silent, all-seeing network of cameras, sensors, and algorithms. It's a system that's constantly watching, constantly analyzing, and even predicting what inmates will do, all without any real human interaction. That's the chilling vision of the carceral automaton. This shift towards punishment that's managed entirely from a distance, through a screen. And look, this isn't some far-off concept. In South Korea, they're already testing robots to spot abnormal behavior. In one prison in China, an AI brain is hooked up to a web of sensors that tracks every single person 24/7. This shows a massive global trend. But the key thing here isn't just the tech itself, it's the philosophy behind it. What happens to the very idea of rehabilitation when human contact is systematically engineered right out of the system? As researcher Carolyn McKay puts it, we're seeing the rise of digital rule. And this isn't just about adding some new gadgets to old prisons. It's a fundamental change in the very nature of control. We're moving away from flawed human judgment to what seems like infallible and maybe even merciless algorithmic observation. So we've got automated systems starting to manage social control. Now let's move to the next pillar, the economy. And this is arguably the most powerful engine pushing us toward this new reality. Just look at this number, $7.55. That's the projected total cost for everything to run a humanoid robot worker for 1 hour in 2025. That covers the machine, the maintenance, the power, the whole shebang. To put that into perspective, in the US, that's basically the federal minimum wage. Except this worker never gets tired, never takes a coffee break, and will never ever ask for a raise. What this means is that we've crossed a huge economic tipping point. For a massive range of physical jobs, on factory floors, in warehouses, even out in the fields, a machine is no longer just an interesting alternative. It's quickly becoming the default choice, the cheaper, more efficient option. And this whole transformation is happening in waves, and it's moving incredibly fast. We've pretty much just passed through wave 1, simple, repetitive stuff. We are entering wave 2 right now, where AI-managed mobile robots can run whole warehouses. And by the end of this decade, wave 3 suggests that cheap, general-purpose humanoid robots could completely reshape the labor market as we know it. The sheer pace of this change is what's truly staggering. And this all leads to this really strange, kind of concerning thing called jobless reshoring. So imagine a brand new cutting-edge factory opens up, let's say, in Ohio. It's celebrated for bringing manufacturing back to the country. But when you look inside, you don't see hundreds of workers on an assembly line. You see a handful of technicians watching over an army of robots. Production comes home, but the jobs don't. The real danger here is that all the economic gains from this new productivity might not get shared, and that could drive inequality even higher. Okay, so we've got machines taking over systems of control and physical labor. But what about the one place we always thought was safe? The one domain that was exclusively human? Our imagination, our creativity. Well, this is where we meet the ghost in the machine. For basically all of human history, the answer to that would have been a firm, obvious no. I mean, storytelling is about feeling, right? Empathy, the human condition. But generative AI, which has basically read millions of human stories to learn the very patterns of how we tell them, is starting to challenge that fundamental assumption. Just look at what's already happening. You have platforms like AI Dungeon, where an AI acts as a live storyteller, weaving a unique narrative that responds to every single thing you do. What's so fascinating here is that the AI isn't just writing a story for you, it's collaborating with you to create one. You're not just the audience anymore, you're basically a co-author. This could completely flip the future of entertainment on its head, creating stories that are super personal and that you can play over and over again. And this, of course, opens up a massive philosophical can of worms. If you and an AI write a novel together, who's the author? Can an algorithm actually be creative? And who owns the rights to that story? These aren't just little technical questions. They get right to the very heart of what it even means to be an artist. So, with all these rapid, frankly disorienting changes in justice, work, and art, it's really no surprise that a powerful backlash is starting to grow, a kind of human resistance, raising deep ethical and even spiritual worries about where all this is going. Now, this is an incredibly powerful statement. It's from Ecumenical Patriarch Bartholomew, the spiritual leader for millions of Orthodox Christians. He's not just talking about technology, he's giving a stark warning about an impending robotocracy. His call for faith to be a safeguard shows you that this debate has moved way beyond Silicon Valley. It's being discussed at the highest levels of global moral and spiritual leadership. And these right here are the core problems fueling that resistance. You've got algorithmic bias, which is this huge danger that systems trained on our own flawed history can learn our prejudices and then amplify them at a massive scale. There's the fear of losing our own agency, that by outsourcing our thinking, we just forget how to think for ourselves. But maybe the deepest concern is this idea of the diminution of personhood, that in this relentless race for efficiency, we're automating the very human connections that give our lives meaning. So, given all that, is it dystopian robotocracy our destiny? Are we doomed? Well, not necessarily. The future isn't a script that's already been written. This final part is all about the choices we still get to make. The sources really point to a clear path forward. First, transparency. Because if we don't know how an algorithm made a decision, how can we ever possibly challenge it? Second, we need to design tech that helps humans, that augments us, not just replaces us. Third, a huge investment in education and training to get people ready for this new economy. And finally, we need strong, clear rules. We have to put guardrails on this incredibly powerful technology. And this really captures the central and most hopeful takeaway. The rise of a robotocracy isn't a sure thing. It's not some force of nature that we're powerless against. Every algorithm, every robot, every single automated system is the result of a chain of human decisions. We get to choose what values we build into them. So at the end of the day, the crucial point is this: the operating system for our future is being written as we speak. The real question isn't if AI will shape our world, but who gets to shape the AI. Will it be guided by things like ethics and justice and human dignity? Or will it be driven purely by efficiency and profit? Ultimately, the answer to that question is up to all of us.